there's been debates and questions answered by the politicians, yeah, and it's really good. You have loads of free stuff.
As the president of my student council, I think it's been very interesting to see that that's the way the council is run, and I think that more and more people should get involved with it. So it has inspired me to get involved in politics. Yeah.
I thought it was really good because I was able to give out my opinions during the talks, and that they would actually listen to me instead of me sending a letter and not knowing what they have done with it.
Hello, my name is Peter Facey, Director of Unlock Democracy. People and Politics Day is an event aimed at 16 to 19-year-olds. The purpose of the day is to enable young people to hear directly from politicians, to question them, interact with them, and hopefully undermine the cynical attitudes held by young people about politics and politicians. We had some 2,000 young people in Westminster Central Hall from all over England and Wales. Hopefully, events like this and others will go a small way to undermining the cynical attitudes, thereby enabling them to be better citizens, to have more information, and hopefully to play their part in the future of our country.
I think the day is absolutely fantastic. It shows young people what politics is really about, what's really happening in society, and what different parties and different wings of society can do for the public and how it can benefit us.
The first event of the day was an opportunity for 3 senior politicians, Alan Johnson, Peter Ainsworth and Vince Cable, to address 2,000 young people directly.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's a great pleasure to be here with Peter and Vince Cable, who will be coming shortly at such a well-attended event. People are even arriving as I speak, and the sight of so many people here today is encouraging for those who care about the future of our democracy. But we shouldn't get overexcited given the stark facts on political activism. And Sam mentioned a few of them. I'll mention a few more. More people in Britain watched a World Cup game on television this summer than went to the polling booths to vote at the last general election. Turnout at general elections has fallen from around 80% to 40% in the last 100 years, and I think most depressingly, 2/3 of 18 to 25-year-olds chose to stay at home rather than vote in 2005.
And do you think it's important for young people to become more aware and educated to politics?
Oh, very much so. They gave us some statistics about how few people are voting now, and if it keeps on going down like that, there's going to be practically no one voting, which defeats the whole objective of having democracy.
Charter 88 and the New Politics Network call this the crisis of legitimacy facing British politics. Any successful institution requires high levels of participation and activism to succeed, so this really does matter immensely.
I think it's important for young people because in the future, if they want to get involved in politics, they're not going to know what's going to be happening around them or what they're going to have to do. So when we went to the lecture this morning, and they said you have to be 16 to stand onto the register, I think that gave pupils a lot of information when to sign on and what they can do after that.
The centrepiece of the day was the opportunity for 2,000 young people to question 3 senior politicians. The questions ranged from questions about citizenship in their school all the way through to the Iraq War, and in the words of one of the politicians, was 10 times more scary than going on Question Time.
The justice system in this country is a joke. At least 41% of juveniles are reoffending after being convicted. 67% of adults after imprisonment are reoffending. There are 30,000 sex offenders. 1,000 violent crimes, including murder and manslaughter, are being committed by tagged criminals. And my question to you, Mr. Johnson, is how are you going to use education to educate the kids of today so they don't become the thugs of tomorrow?
Hearing the term voter apathy, how can we call this apathy when thousands upon thousands of Londoners poured to the streets all over the UK to protest, to show their political integrity against the Iraq war? We need to appreciate that the political parties no longer represent and the voters no longer have trust in them, and that is why people are not voting today.
Okay. Surely a democracy should be about listening to the people. Maybe we're not voting because when we feel passionately about issues, for example, when we march against the Iraq war, we are ignored. when we march against the government's failure to tackle climate change, very little is done about it. If people aren't listening to the issues that young people feel passionately about, how can you expect us to vote if most young people simply believe that they'll be ignored?
What do you think of the politicians' answers to the questions?
I thought that they were answers that we were able to relate to everyday life, but also some people asked like what's happening like with like different issues, and they were able to answer them with confidence. I think that helped a lot of people's queries.
I found that they're answering the questions honestly, and not just what their party thinks, but what their personal opinion is as well.
They seem to be talking more about the political system rather than the parties in general. They're not saying, oh, vote for my party. They're just talking about what can be done, what is being done.
The best question was possibly the one about how, you know, demonstrations aren't really heard that much, and how, you know, I'm saying that's why people don't vote, is because they feel they're not heard. But I'm not sure whether that question was fully answered.
One of the key parts of the day was the opportunity for young people to directly interact with some 15 organisations covering the width and breadth of British politics, from NGOs to political parties. We're now going to have the opportunity to hear from some of those stallholders.
Okay. Hi, I'm from Make Votes Count, the cross-party coalition for a fairer voting system. And we're here today because we're campaigning for a fairer voting system which makes all votes count. And we want to ensure that young people, when they turn 18, use their vote and can make that difference.
So we're just here trying to get as many young people as possible engaged in politics and registered to vote. So we've got a number of resources that we offer to teachers and to youth workers and to people who work with young people. So we've just brought them all here to showcase them and to explain to teachers how they can encourage young people to get more involved.
Hi, I'm Sarah. We're from Young Liberal Democrats. We're here today to try and get young people more involved in politics, because every decision that they make, every decision that you make in life is political. Whether it's to do with the Iraq war, whether it's to do with anti-top-up fees, all these kind of campaigns that we're really, really committed to, such as climate change, basically trying to make a better future for the youth of Britain, we really want to put out there and make sure that they get themselves involved.
Hi, I'm from the Parliamentary Education Unit, and we're here providing information and resources for young people about the work of Parliament, both House of Commons and House of Lords.
They're really good because they give you lots of information, and even though they give you really cool free stuff, they're actually letting you see what it's like.
It helps them to find out more about politics, and it gives them information.
In the afternoon, we broke up into smaller groups covering everything from education, the third world, all the way through to crime. This gave a greater opportunity to young people to hear from politicians, but also to question them and to have their questions actually put to them directly.
Yeah, I think it'd be good for young people because, like I said, it helps their knowledge of politics, and also it helps them understand what's going on around the world and what's happening in their community with their life.
People in Politics Day 2006 was a great success. We had some 2,000 young people interacting with politicians from all main political parties.
I think an event like this would definitely help young people get to grips with politics and get more interested, and when it comes to finally doing it, vote, which is the most important thing and which is what the MPs are trying to get us to do.
But it shouldn't be a one-off. For this to make a real difference in terms of politicians and in terms of young people, it needs to be a regular event and not just held in London.
It's made me think that the opinion of the whole of all the MPs isn't just the opinion of PM, and that the way he thinks, and they're all individuals and they all have their own opinions on things, like some will fall one, some will.
For this to be a success, we need the support of young people, funders and politicians. Hopefully, we can make People and Politics Day a core part of the educational and political year.
Has this event made you feel more engaged in democracy and voting and politics, and why?
Yeah, it has a bit, because you realise that they really do care what you think, so it makes you want to get more involved if you know you're going to be listened to.
I didn't really know much before we came, but I've learned a lot during the day.
Yeah, it's like people like complain a lot, but it's a lot more
like difficult to do things than you think.
Do you think it's important for young people to come to events like this?
Yeah, it is, because when they're hiding away but they've got opinions, it's not being recognised. And now that you can get them to recognise it, it's fantastic.
Because they need to feel that people are taking notice of what they think.
It shows the politicians actually do care slightly.
And did you get that feeling today?
Slightly, yeah. I mean, the way they answered the questions, they answered them quite in depth. I mean, some of them they just avoided the question, but others they answered in quite a lot of depth, so it helped.
Yeah, I'm pretty glad I came today because like I found out what's happening with voting, what's happening about race and racism. I think it's a good way to involve young people.